Hello everyone, my name is Nocturne and welcome back to my guide series for Titanfall 2. In this episode, we're going to cover the most strategic Titan in the game, and possibly the hardest Titan to master, Scorch. This guide is split into 3 parts, and timestamps are in the description for each part, so without further ado, let's get into it. Scorch's primary weapon is a T-203 thermite launcher, which fires a single-shot projectile that sets ablaze anything within its range. It is a skill shot that may take some time to master, but is excellent at blocking off doorways and patches of ground, and can be used to snipe enemy pilots as well. It works best at close range, but can also be arced across the map to poke the enemy. Scorch's tactical ability is Incendiary Trap, which deploys a gas canister that, on hit, releases a wave of flammable gas into the surrounding area. This gas can be triggered by any of Scorch's other abilities, as well as his primary weapon, and is Scorch's main source of damage and map control. Used well, an ignited trap can devastate any enemy health bar if they are foolish enough to stay in the flames. Scorch's ordnance ability is Firewall, a skill shot wall of fire that comes out of Scorch's fist and burns the ground for a few seconds, igniting any traps it hits and melting anything in its path. This ability, like most of Scorch's kit, is great for corralling the enemy. You can use it to block off doors or strategic points and force the enemy into retreat. Its range is fairly long, but do keep in mind that you need to lead your shot and aim where the enemy is going to be rather than where they are if you want it to hit. Scorch's defensive ability is Heat Shield, a ring of fire on a time limit that destroys any incoming projectiles while also burning everything in its path. While a defensive ability, this shield will actually do insane damage if you activate it in an enemy Titan's face, and will melt any pilots who get close as well. This ability makes Scorch the close range king, so don't be afraid to run at an enemy who is too close and watch their health bars burn away. You can very literally destroy a Ronin or Northstar with this one ability, and getting the double duration, extra damage shield kit is a necessity for Scorch. Finally, we have Scorch's core ability, Flame Core, a wide cone of fire that after a short delay explodes from Scorch's fists and pulses across the battlefield, igniting any traps in the way. This ability is similar to Firewall, but does a lot more damage. It also has a wider cone of effect and does not leave any lasting fire. Comboed with the flame canister, if you can hit a smaller health bar Titan, they will be deleted almost instantly. Scorch can chain abilities to force enemies out of cover or trap them for massive damage. Tactical play is a must for Scorch, and strategic, higher level thinking is the only way to play him well. Your job on the battlefield is to crowd control the enemy. If there is a choke point or corner that the enemy is using, you are the Titan for the job. And with your traps and wildfire, you are perfectly suited for either forcing the enemy into retreat or making them pay dearly for staying. Scorch's one-on-one can be a bit tricky to get used to. All of his moves are very telegraphed, from his traps to his firewall skill shot, and in a straight one-on-one in an open space, most enemy Titans will be able to dodge or run away from these abilities. Remember that as Scorch you want to avoid open areas if you can, and you definitely want to avoid long rangers, where Scorch has no fight potential. If you are being engaged by any other Titan from long range, flame shield and get out of there, because winning will be very hard, as none of your kit offers much long range damage. Your perfect engagements are medium to close range, with little room for the enemy to maneuver. With this in mind, it is paramount to pick Scorch in the right map/situation. If you're on Homestead, or other maps with long sight lines, open areas, and not many tight corners or choke points, you are at a disadvantage to almost every other Titan in the game. While these maps can be played by using cover well, it is a lot harder to do, especially for beginner Scorches. Stick to maps with tight corners, as well as lots of choke points, and hopefully, routes that don't leave you exposed in the open without cover for very long. When you do find a good fight, the basic engage is this. Shoot your trap where the enemy is going to be, and ignite it with your gun. Use your firewall to trap them as they run, and then either push forward with your flame shield up and flame core, or stay back using cover and repeat the process. In the right situation, Scorch can 1v1 any enemy Titan, but the key here is that it has to be the right situation. Also, keep in mind that your flame shield on top of an enemy can fully destroy them, so get in close to them if you can. Scorch's flames can also hurt him as well as the enemy, and do the same amount of insane damage. So be very, very careful in where you position yourself. More than once have I died as Scorch where most of the damage I took in that life was from my own flames. If you're chasing an enemy, launching a gas canister straight at them and igniting it may not be the best move, as it means you can't chase them at risk of killing yourself in your own flames. Specific Titan matchups are kind of irrelevant for Scorch, because whether or not he can defeat an enemy is totally dependent on where he fights rather than who he is fighting. If you get to close or medium range at a choke point or tight area, you can destroy any enemy very, very quickly. But at long ranges, Titans that can snipe you will have the upper hand. Picking when to fight, as well as where to fight, is much more important than who to fight. One thing to note is that the more mobile Titans can be quite devastating, as they can evade you very well if they have good positioning. Northstar from range, and Ronin with his hit and run tactics are especially deadly if not respected, so be careful and stick to the tactics discussed in the previous section of this video. Pick close to medium range fights with tight areas and you will always win. Well, there you go guys, that's my guide to Scorch. He's a hard Titan to master and has a very different playstyle to other Titans, but when you start to understand him, he can become an absolute beast. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content. This is Silver Nocturne, signing out.